In Pennsylvania, boys of Blair County chapter take to the Red Cross pre-induction swimming course like ducks to water. Here they get the same basic training in water safety that the Red Cross gives to the men in the armed forces. Classes of girls receive instruction too. Each boy and girl must know 3 different strokes and learn to handle himself in the water under all conditions. You might say they really get a kick out of it. Jumping in fully clothed, the boys demonstrate their ability to stay afloat. Just like soldiers or sailors, they transform duffel bags into emergency life-saving equipment. Technique such as this has saved many a man's life at sea. Treading water, they learn to shed shoes and clothing in nothing flat. This is a must in any life-saving course. Swimming with full field equipment, they simulate an infantry unit crossing a stream. It's all training that will come in handy when they're called to the Army. Again, using duffel bags inflated for buoyancy, they improvise a water stretcher. First aid, nautical style. Today, under the Red Cross, learn to swim means learn to live. And these youngsters are learning fast. Panama City, Florida. The Liberty ship John Barton Payne, named in honor of the late national chairman of the American Red Cross, is ready to be launched. Uniformed nurses, aides, and officials of Florida's Bay County chapter are invited to participate in the ceremony. In memory of Mr. Payne, the ship's library and recreational facilities are furnished by the American Red Cross. Now, Mrs. William A. Cooper, co-sponsor with Mrs. Leah Goodman, is ready with the traditional champagne. And the new Liberty ship John Barton Payne goes to join America's ever-growing merchant fleet. In California, Los Angeles and Long Beach Red Cross chapters salute the USS Hope, the Navy's newest hospital ship. Most complete and modern vessel of its kind, the 13,000-ton Hope is sponsored by Miss Martha Louise Floyd, Los Angeles Director of Nursing Service. Slipping sidewise from the ways, the Hope hits the water with a splash, a new haven of mercy for the men of the fleet. Arriving at Washington Airport, Norman H. Davis, National Chairman of the American Red Cross, returns to report on Red Cross activities overseas.
I've just returned from a trip to Great Britain, North Africa, and Sicily, where I spent 4 very strenuous but interesting weeks observing American Red Cross operations. It was most gratifying to find that the armed forces whom we are serving are unqualified in their praise of what the Red Cross is doing for them. Through our service clubs, club mobiles, aero clubs, rest clubs, and other similar activities, we are bringing to our soldiers an atmosphere of home and meeting many of their needs. Through the collection of blood to the Red Cross, now 90,000 pints a week, we are providing to the Army and Navy their needs for dried plasma, by which thousands of lives have already been saved that would otherwise have been lost. The American people everywhere may take justifiable pride in what the Red Cross is doing, because after all, it is their Red Cross, and it is their support which makes this invaluable humanitarian service possible.
Somewhere off an island in the South Pacific, a United States task force moves one step nearer to Tokyo. This is the story of Munda and Rendova, of Leh and Salamaua, of Guadalcanal and Recata Bay. Names that will go down in history. Names to be memorized by American school children throughout the years to come. Here in the hot, miasmal jungle, men from Maine and Minnesota, from California and Connecticut, are waging a desperate war of attrition upon the Japanese and their dreams of world conquest. Here, thousands of miles from their homes, men are fighting and dying that America may be free. Here also, beneath the emblem of the Red Cross, men are just as relentlessly fighting that those wounded may live. Official Army films revealing the dramatic work of medical corps men serving at the front. At evacuation hospitals set up within sound of the guns, doctors and men work under conditions unbelievably primitive. This is war in the jungle. Here, America, are the bandages you rolled. Here, America, is the blood you gave. Boxes of life-giving plasma collected by local chapters of your American Red Cross. One Army doctor said, if people back home only knew, if they could but see how eagerly these vital cans of plasma are seized and put to use, we would never have to make another appeal for blood donors on the home front. Today, thanks to blood plasma, to the great discoveries in sulfa drugs, to the speed and efficiency with which our wounded are cared for, only one wounded man in 30 is claimed by death. Bound for Blighty, they begin the long, tedious journey home. More serious cases may be sent to base hospitals by airplanes. Others are carried aboard barges to be transferred to waiting transport. A few patches, but thanks to the medical corps, he lives to fight again. Rolling into one of the nation's many rehabilitation centers, a deluxe hospital train brings home some of our first wounded from overseas. At Halloran, largest military hospital in the United States, doctors and nurses specially trained to cope with the problems of these veterans are doing a magnificent job. And here's where the Red Cross is playing a pretty important role too, teaching the men arts and crafts, encouraging them to develop their talents in sketching and painting. Volunteer Red Cross workers are helping these men to help themselves. In creating things with their own hands, men discover talents they never before suspected. Most important of all, men are being taught to take a new lease on life, taught that just as they can shape things with their own hands, so can they shape their own lives. With this dauntless spirit, the American soldier of World War II faces the future with confidence and courage.